scratch that, scratch that, scratch that, severe, toe, pain. Yeah, I probably need to train Dragon more. I haven't been using it a lot, so maybe that's why it's not capturing it accurately. But just like what I've said, if it doesn't capture it, they could directly type into it. And one thing I could show you is, the training of the words. Like, apparently it's not recognizing toe. So I'm going to try to train toe. So I'm going to go to words, and then I'm going to go to train and enter the word you would want to train. So I'm going to train toe because apparently it's not recognizing toe. And I'm going to click on train, and then I'm going to click on go for Dragon to hear my dictation on toe, or how I pronounce toe. Toe, and click on done. And then I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to go uh, and try a new line and see if it will recognize toe this time. New line, toe, scratch that, toe, scratch that. New paragraph, toe, scratch that, toe. Okay, apparently it's not recognizing, but you probably get the concept where you can train words. I'm gonna turn it off really quick. Okay, and let me show you how we can. There's a different commands that they can use, but this is usually the quickest way to get them, you know, uh, get them on the ground running, is to just have them start dictating the note after you doing that initial Dragon session. We can just choose the begin dictating and just have them, start dictating on their notes. Now, like what I've said, you can also start dictating by going into the note accumulator. And let's say we're going to do the review of systems, and they wanted to dictate. Now, like what we all know that, you can actually, if they had something in Microsoft Word, they could copy and paste it pretty much on their note workspace. But what we're going to try to do next is we're going to try to create a command, or a macro for review of systems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this entire section of a general review of systems. And like what I've said, I usually try not to copy it directly into Dragon, so I'm going to have to use a notepad for that. I'm going to open up Notepad, and I'm going to paste it there, and I'm going to select all, and then just copy it. I'm going to minimize it, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a command. So I'm going to go to the tools menu of the Dragon bar, and I'm going to choose add new command, and the command name that I'm going to give to this is review of systems. So I'm just going to type in review of systems, and I'm going to train Dragon to recognize whenever I pronounce review of systems, or this command. So I'm going to click on this train button. I'm going to go ahead and click on go. Review of systems, and that should have recognized the command. And I could just add another command here, and I'm just going to leave this as user defined for the group. I'm going to leave availability as global. I'm going to make sure that I choose text and graphics, and I'm just going to paste all of that content that I have here, and I'm just going to double check and maybe make sure for any spellings. Alright, at this point I'm just going to save it. Okay, and I'm gonna minimize this screen. And let's say I wanted to use that review of systems, I would just simply put in my cursor here and make sure that the cursor is there, and I'm gonna turn on my microphone and just say review of systems. So let's give this a try. Review of systems, and presto, there you go. So this is how it looks like. So without having to dictate all of that, with just the command of review of systems, it just, pasted everything under the review of systems. So a lot of doctors, well, not a lot, but a good majority of doctors, like to use this feature, especially the younger doctors, because they use a lot of templates. A lot of I've noticed that a lot of the more senior doctors who prefer to use Dragon, they like to dictate on the fly, meaning they don't like to create templates because they feel that each patient is different, and it's going to be different for each patient that they encounter, so they like to make it sort of like more like personalized. But you get an idea that you can create a command based on this, so it makes it a lot easier to be able to create commands of this sort. Okay, so that's how we create a text and graphics command or macro. Now we can also create a macro for something like maybe they want to create a macro to you know turn on all scripts or double click all scripts. I think the example I gave earlier was to maybe if you want to create a command and make Dragon turn on Facebook, we can do that too by going again to tools, add a new command, and then I'm just gonna name my command Facebook, for example. I'm gonna train it Facebook, and I'm gonna say turn open Facebook. And for the command type, this time I'm gonna use a macro recorder instead. And once I'm ready, I can just click on record, and then basically it's just gonna record my mouse clicks and my keyboard strokes. So see, I'm just gonna choose Internet Explorer. It's gonna open up Internet Explorer, and I'm just gonna type in Facebook here. And then at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and click on stop, and I'm gonna try to go back to my Dragon. And did it? Let's see. Did I capture it? Okay, I'm just gonna let it play its course. Apparently, it's okay. Now it hung up. Probably tried to do too many things at the same time. But anyways, it allows. Let's try to see it. We'll restart Internet Explorer. So as you can see, it's sort of like okay. Let me try to go back to Dragon and see. Okay, it didn't quite work. Let me try it again. One more time, just one more time. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna try to save it. I'm gonna try to close it, and I'm gonna try to dictate the command Facebook this time. Facebook. Facebook. Okay, so there you go. That's how it's supposed to work in terms of, creating a macro recorder command. Now, this is something that we probably won't really be teaching a lot, to the providers. It's, more just, for us, so that we'll have that knowledge of, deeper knowledge and understanding of how to use Dragon, uh, as an application. So basically, that concludes our Dragon webinar. And again, I wanted to know if everybody had any questions, any specific questions on the setup, or any question in general that pertains to Dragon or how to use Dragon. Yes, Diana. Mm-hmm. I think as far as using the macro, they would still see. You mean the mouse clicks, right? The- that's a good question. I haven't used the macro recorder extensively, but as far as I know, it will show you the mouse clicks, the movements of the mouse, as well as the keyboard strokes. So it pretty much shows everything when you use the macro. Now the thing with the macro, one thing I wanted to add before I forget, and sorry if I sort of like interrupted you, is that usually if you also decide to type in your username and password, it also types in the password. Now we don't recommend the password, especially if a provider, that's why I don't teach this to providers, is because they would create a macro for all scripts, and they would put in their username and their password, and every time they would just command all scripts. I don't think, personally, and I don't think it's a secure way of getting into all scripts, because somebody can just sound like the doctor, and somebody could just say all scripts and log in as the doctor. I mean, they might Dragon might recognize, even if it's not the doctor's voice, if somebody